Hello everyone, welcome back to another mini lesson. The topic for this lesson it's going to be Goal 11 from the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, and this goal is called Sustainable Cities and Communities. So let's see what are the contents for this lesson. Well, first, the essential vocabulary, of course. We are going to analyze why does this goal matter, then the targets, and we are going to dig in some of the indicators that measure how sustainable a community or a city or country can be. All right, so two of the indicators that we are going to analyze are the ecological footprint and the social footprint. So let's have a look. Let's start. Essential vocabulary. From the vocabulary, we are going to look at, as you can see this lesson, some adjectives, nouns, and verbs. In the adjectives, we have sustainable, resilient, and affordable. The nouns are carbon emissions, slum, heritage, and housing. Indicator, and then for different type of footprints: ecological footprint, carbon footprint, water footprint, and social footprint. Realization, supply chain, and issues. The verbs are measure, track, and address. So pay attention to these words. The concepts are here in the screen, as you can see in the presentation, but the idea is that you try to keep them in mind in this presentation. Okay, so let's continue. Sustainable cities and communities. Why does it matter? Why is this important? Well, the goal here is to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. That would be the fourth one. Why is this important? Because the world is becoming increasingly urbanized. By 2030, 60% of the population will be living in cities. Cities are important. Why? Because cities contribute to the economic growth, and they use 3% of the Earth's land, but they also generate carbon emissions that represent 60% of the planet's emissions, and also they use 70% of the global energy consumption. Another problem that it is very relevant is the inequality. Inequality is a big problem because over 1 billion of people live in slums. I put the word slum in the vocabulary because I considered it was important, so have a look. I think it's important you learned it. Also, many cities are vulnerable to climate change and natural disaster. That means coastal flooding, drought, or many other environmental disasters. Some of the targets that have been defined are to ensure everyone can have access to safe and affordable housing, that cities make affordable and sustainable transport systems, also that cities worry about inclusive and sustainable urbanization, and that when cities develop their projects, they protect the world's cultural and natural heritage. Also, it's important to reduce the adverse effects of natural disasters, reduce the environmental impact of cities, provide access to safe and inclusive green and public spaces, and implement policies for inclusion, resource efficiency, and disaster risk reduction. Well, as I indicated before, the way that we can know if a community, a city, or a country, a larger community is being sustainable is through indicators. So what is an indicator? What type of indicators do we have? So let's have a look. Environmental sustainability indicators are indicators that allow evaluating the impact of production processes on the environment. Such indicators make it possible to quantify the level of environmental responsibility and sustainability of both a person, an organization, or community can have. So this is the indicator. Is a way to measure Here we mentioned 4 indicators, but of course there can be more. These widely used environmental sustainability indicators are the ecological footprint, the carbon footprint, the water footprint, and the social footprint. Let's have a look at 2 of them. 2 of the indicators, I have included them in the forum activity, so I prefer that you investigate a little bit about them and report back to the class so everybody can read what this is about. The ecological footprint. What is this about? The ecological footprint is a method promoted by the Global Footprint Network to measure human demand on natural capital. That means the quantity of nature it takes to support people or an economy. It tracks this demand through an ecological accounting system. The global hectare is the measurement unit for the ecological footprint. As you can see here, there is a small graph with countries that have the biggest ecological footprint. And as you can notice, the majority of these countries belong to the Middle East geographical area. So in this list of countries we have Qatar, Luxembourg, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Trinidad and Tobago, the United States of America, and Canada. In the image, you can see that the ecological footprint comprises many other aspects. So we have forest products, carbon footprint, cropland, pasture, build-up land, and fisheries. The second indicator that I wanted to talk about is the social footprint. What is the social footprint? Here tell us that this is the realization of the positive and negative externalities of a company on its ecosystem. If the ecosystem is not well, the company cannot develop itself sustainably. Companies want to understand where there might be risks related to product social responsibility in their supply chain, so they can address these issues before they hit media or social media. So here I included certain images from H&M and Apple because they were related to certain labor issues in the past, and these practices were very disadvantageous for them. All right, so this is what social footprint is about: to measure the impact of a company regarding their human resources. In this case, H&M and Apple had very bad labor practices, and these hit the media, and it was a tremendous problem for these 2 companies. So now they have done certain adjustments to the workers who work in their supply chain for the products. All right, and as I said here in this slide, there are some initiatives, but there is no one system to describe countries or only companies for this social footprint. So although this is a concept, there is no an index or something that clearly tell us if a company it is sustainable regarding their human resources or their social footprint. So unfortunately we don't have that yet, and I think it is important that this can be developed in the near future. Let's have a look at now the forum activity, and that would be the end. Forum activity. Choose one of these concepts, investigate and answer these questions, and post it in the forum. What is it? What is its usefulness? And optional, which country has the highest and lowest rank of these indicators? The 8 possible concepts that you may analyze are the water footprint, carbon footprint, the Gini index, the air quality index, the ozone depleting gas index, human development index, recycling rate, and the energy efficiency index. That's all for this lesson, and I hope that this has been helpful and educational for you. If you have any question or comment, you can always email me, of course. So that's it. Thanks for your participation. Goodbye.